Is January 1st really the start of the new year? What if I told you that the new year could start at several different times for you? Most people think that the calendar sets the tone for the new year. However, what you're going to learn about the new year may actually surprise you. Did you know that different cultures, astrological systems, and even personal cycles suggest different start times for the new year? In this video, we are going to explore all these different systems as far as the start of the new year is concerned. Hello everybody, I am Vaishali Nikhade. I'm an engineer turned psychic with over 9,000 readings, and I show you how you can leverage the power of stars for your love life. So if you get off to a rocky start during the new year, you may have several different instances to salvage that, and these could as well serve as a start to your new year. Your goal is to be able to revisit your new year resolutions every time you hit a new start date for the new year. So here's what you're going to learn in this video. Cultural start date for the new year, astrological start date for the new year, and personal start date for the new year. So let's get started. The first one is the cultural start date for the new year. So the cultural start date for the new year is January 1st. That is based on the calendar system where there's 12 months of the year, and the year starts on January 1st and then it ends on December 31st. So culturally, the start date for the new year is January 1st, and this is what is widely observed, especially if you look at all the marketing promotions that go on everywhere. You will see that the cultural start of the new year is emphasized on January 1st. This is also the day where people make a lot of New Year resolutions with the hope that they'll be able to keep up with these resolutions. However, some of them may fizzle down by the end of the month. So let me know in the comments if January 1st is the start date for the new year, or you start your new year on a different date without watching the rest of the video. So now we go to the astrological start date for the new year. So for this particular method, they use what is known as a lunisolar system, which means that they look at the solar cycles as well as the lunar cycles. The solar cycles means the cycles of the sun, as well as the lunar cycles mean the cycles of the moon. So how exactly does this work? So first we'll go into the Chinese New Year start, and then we'll go into the Hindu New Year start. Both of them use the lunisolar method. However, they use it slightly differently. So first we look at how the Chinese New Year is determined. It is not based on the date, however, it is based on the cycles of the moon. In particular, as far as the Chinese New Year is concerned, they look at these dates, which is the end of winter and start of spring. So they look from the 21st of January. So this is January 21st. And they look until the February the 20th. So this is February 20th. So how do you determine the new year? What they do, because they look at the lunar cycles, what they do is they take the phases of the moon, and if the new moon, let's say it falls on this date, then this is when the Chinese New Year will start in this particular year. Now, let's say that the following year, the new moon is during this date, then the Chinese New Year will start during this particular date. So essentially what happens is, in this particular date, whatever is the new moon, that is what determines the start of the Chinese New Year. So because the new moon is not going to be fixed, in the sense that it is not going to be on a fixed date every year, unlike the calendar system where January 1st is always going to be January 1st, in this particular instance, the date when the new moon occurs is not fixed, and this is the reason why there is no fixed date, but it's going to kind of roll according to the phases of the moon or when the new moon starts during this period. So that is as far as the Chinese New Year is concerned. Now we look at the Hindu calendar and how the new year is determined. And in this particular instance, they take two different things. They take the phases of the sun, and then they take also the moon. So there's no phases of the sun per se, but it's actually the transits of the sun. So as far as our zodiac is concerned, there are 12 astrological signs. So you start at Aries. So you start at Aries and then you go through Taurus and then Gemini, Cancer, and so on, all the way to Pisces. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So according to the Hindu calendar, what happens is they look at when the sun enters Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. So the first point is when the sun enters Aries, as opposed to having this on a fixed date in the Chinese calendar. And then the next one is when there is a new moon. So let's say that the sun enters Aries over here. So this is the point where the sun enters Aries. And then after the sun enters Aries, you find the same thing that you did in the Chinese calendar, which is you find the new moon that occurs after the sun enters Aries. So usually this is around Aprilish time when the sun goes to Aries. It can vary slightly, but essentially after the sun enters Aries, you look at the new moon that happens, and then that is the start date of the new year according to the Hindu calendar. So they look at the first sign of the zodiac and then the new moon. So first sign of the zodiac is like a new sign or the start or the beginning. So that is the reason you look at Aries. And then the new moon is the new start. So again, you look at the new moon, which is going to determine the new start to the new year. So this is, again, there is no fixed date. It is because anything based on the lunar calendar, there are no fixed dates. So there'll be no fixed date for this. Essentially, it's going to be according to the phases of the moon and the transit of the sun. So you can see that the new moon concept is kind of the same in both these systems. However, which new moon to take is different. In this particular case, it is based on when the sun enters Aries, and in this particular case, it is based on two dates. So that is the astrological start of the new year. If you feel that by listening to these methods, it's opening a new way of thinking for you to start the new year, then go ahead and hit the like button so that YouTube can show the video to more people like you. So now we go to the third point, which is the new year with a personal start. Now, the personal start to the new year can happen on a birthday, which means that let's say your birthday falls on May 1st, for instance, then you can have May 1st as the beginning of a new year because technically that's when your age changes. So let's say that you are 25 and you turn 26. So essentially that would be the start of a new year for you because your age is rolling from 25 to 26. And then it's going to be 26 again until you come to the next May 1st when it is going to be 27th. So then you could have May 1st as the start for the new year. And if by any chance you have any new year resolutions that kind of slipped away, then you could redo them on May 1st and this would be the start of a new year for you. So that is only one aspect of the personal new year start. Now the second aspect, this is a little advanced, but I'm going to share that with you here. The second way for a personal start to the new year is kind of borrowing from this theory of the lunar phases. So in this particular instance, we looked at the dates. In this particular instance, we looked at the sign of Aries. Now, your birthday will occur according to a lunar phase as well. So how exactly does that work? I'm going to get rid of all of this so that you can kind of look at it in a fresh manner. So let's say that I'm going to stick to this example when your birthday was May 1st, okay? So let's say that your birthday is May 1st. And during your birthday, this is the exact year which you were born. Let's say that May 1st was a full moon. Okay, so if we look at the phases of the moon, then May 1st is a full moon. And this is only based on the exact year that you were born, because every year May 1st is not going to be a full moon. But for the sake of this example, May 1st is a full moon on the year that you were born. So then what you can do is, and let's say there's one more catch to this, or one more aspect to this. Let's say that the sun was in Taurus, which is the sign of Taurus, which comes after Aries. So now what you do is, borrowing the concept of the Hindu calendar, what you can do is every year, so this would be apart from May 1st, if you want to celebrate like a second birthday or a birthday according to the lunar phases. So every year when the sun enters Taurus and then there is a full moon, then again this would be your birthday according to the phases of the moon. And this would be like an additional birthday in addition to your May 1st day. So if, for instance, that you miss celebrating May 1st because let's say you're traveling, or let's say you're traveling, so you can't really celebrate May 1st, then you can celebrate this as, I don't want to say secondary birthday, but this would be like another day you could use as a birthday. And this would be another day where you can kind of start your New Year resolutions if you have fizzled down from the previous ones, and kind of take it from there. So you have two different angles to celebrate your birthday. So now if things have been on an uphill climb for you, and you feel that no matter how much work you put in, things are just not moving forward, it is very likely that you're working against the stars. And if you're working against the stars, it's almost like climbing uphill, and it's just a very, very difficult journey. So what if you could know when the stars are in your favor, and you could kind of make things easier for you and make life easier for you and make luck kind of come in your way instead of running against luck all the time. This is what you can get or expect when you actually work with the stars. I have a free masterclass where I show you how you can get things to move faster by working with the stars, and the link is in the comments below, so you can sign up for the free masterclass and see how you can make things move a lot faster just by working with the stars. All right, so what exactly did we learn in this video? That potentially there are three ways or three different methods by which you can have a new year or a start of the new year. The first one is the cultural date, which is January 1st. The next one is the astrological date, which varies according to either the Chinese or the Hindu calendar, and it is based on the lunisolar method, where you look at the phases of the moon in addition to another parameter, which is either a fixed date for the Chinese calendar or when the sun enters Aries for the Hindu calendar. And then the third one is on your birthday. And we looked at two different ways how or when you can celebrate your birthday, which is the date, which is whatever date it is that you were born, and then you could also celebrate it according to the phases of the moon. So if by any chance you kind of slipped on your New Year's resolution, then you could use any of these days as a new year and restart the year and start your resolutions again. So what if you have a lot of New Year resolutions, but you're finding that they just kind of stay that way and nothing is coming out of it, or you aren't really getting any results out of it? This is the subject I cover in my next video, where I show you how you can turn your New Year resolutions into real results. So go ahead and click the video on the screen, and I'll see you in the next video.